And welcome everyone back to Friday Freaky Tales. He said there's an echo. Hello, hello. Technical difficulties on Freaky Tales. No, bro, we should have had all of this figured out. Can you guys hear me on the live chat? Okay. Great. So welcome back everyone to Friday, Freaky Tales Friday. We got a very special show today. Unfortunately, I hate when things like this happen, but I want to report something that actually happened in Mexico. But before we get into that, please allow me to thank everyone who liked, comment, subscribed, and everybody who decided to be on the live chat and who took their time from a busy Friday to be with us. I want to thank all of our members. I want to thank everybody who once again shared, and those of you that decided not to be on the live chat. I want to thank you. Other than that, we got some exclusive content coming your way this week. I got a chance to visit a couple of locations. We filmed it, and we're going to air it for the members only. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And hopefully when we open up the lines, you guys are able to call. You guys are able to chime in and share or comment on the topic that I chose. Or you guys can just share a story that you guys experienced, something somebody shared with you, possibly a family member, possibly a friend. But call in and definitely share. So once again, thank you. Now, what I want to talk about is something that actually happened not too long ago. And it's unfortunate that things happen, but this is actually a freaky tale. It's actually a real story. We've all heard of Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, who is Jeffrey Dahmer? Let me give you guys a little bit of background before we get into the person that I want to talk about. Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was an American serial killer who killed 17 boys and men from 1978 to 1991. So that was 13 years. 13 years Jeffrey Dahmer was going around killing people. Okay, but he just wasn't killing them. His murders, which involved necrophilia and cannibalism. Necrophilia, if you recall on one of our last episodes, necrophilia is having sexual, doesn't necessarily need to be intercourse, but sexual attraction, attracted to the dead, or plain and simple having sex with the dead. That's what necrophilia is, and that's what Jeffrey Dahmer was into, along with cannibalism, meaning he ate human body parts. So he was involved with necrophilia and cannibalism. Okay. And once again, his murders are immortalized because of their gruesome nature. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but later moved to Bath Township, Ohio, where he would commit his first murder. Now, let's go ahead and bring up that picture number 1 so that people, I can refresh your memory on who Jeffrey Dahmer is. If you guys have not seen the Netflix special, Jeffrey Dahmer, I believe it's called The Monster or Jeffrey Dahmer Monster, definitely check that out. It is very, very well. I've seen his documentary, but this series, docuseries, it is pretty much, I mean, word for word, possibly. Okay. It's the closest thing that I've seen to his documentary. I heard a lot of things on Jeffrey Dahmer. I've done a lot of research, once again, on Ted Bundy. Once again, he was involved in necrophilia as well. Up to this point, I didn't think things could get any worse with, necrophilia and cannibalism until just recently in Mexico, this happened, and they are now calling this certain individual the Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. The Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, so now let's get a little bit into that. Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer is a suspected serial killer accused of rape, murder, as police found, and I'll leave the rest until I get into the rest of my story. Okay, so here it is here. The blood-stained curtains fluttering in the breeze are the first indication of the evil Miguel Cortez is accused of. This is this man's name whom you guys are seeing on the screen. Okay, who is he? The 39-year-old pharmaceutical chemist is now called by some as the Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, I'm Mexican. I'm not too happy to call this guy a Mexican, but he is. From Mexico, 39 years old, pharmaceutical chemist. And this is the guy. Take a good look at him because you're going to be hearing a lot about him because things are just beginning to unfold. So make sure you guys do your research or look him up. I wanted to touch on it because this just recently happened. Okay. Now, the sister of one of his alleged victims calls him, let me switch it over, calls him, he's a monster, and quote, he's a monster, says Santa Ana resident Angela Calles. Now, this woman, Angela Calles, is from Santa Ana, California. Her sister lives in Mexico, along with her niece, meaning her sister's daughter. They both live in Mexico. And this man, the Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer, happened to live next door to them. Okay. She is, Angela Calles, she is currently in Mexico City because her niece, 17-year-old Maria Jose Castillo, was raped, murdered, and her mother is fighting for her life. Here's what happened. Calles says her sister had been running errands on April 16th, 2024. So this was just a couple of weeks ago, when Cortez allegedly attacked her daughter. So once again, the mother of this young girl, the 17-year-old girl, was out running errands. That means that the young girl, the victim, was at home by herself. And this man, knowing she was home by herself, who only lives next door, I guess felt free to go over there. Now, Angela, I believe Calles, yes, Angela Calles, and I'm quoting her, she found this guy in my niece's room and she was already dead. So in other words, her sister, and I'm trying to go slow because I'm not trying to confuse anyone because there's a lot of details. The one who's telling this story is the woman, Angela Calles, from Santa Ana. She is saying what her sister has told her. Her sister, who lives in Mexico, comes home and walks in while this murderer, Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer, is abusing her daughter, and she's already dead. So once again, she found this guy in my niece's room, and she was already dead. He attacked my sister too. She has a stab wound on her leg, neck, left lung, and pelvic area. So that's 4 stab wounds, Gaius says. In other words, her sister. Cortez tried to flee. Cortez is the guy, the person, the monster that we're referring to as Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. Cortez tried to flee, but neighbors held him down until police arrived. First and foremost, thank you for those neighbors. Here is a mother coming home to her daughter who's alone, believing she's just a regular day. She's going to find her daughter there, but no, she's already there. She's been raped. She's been killed. And she finds this man in her daughter's room. Then this guy tries to get away and stabs her 4 different places on her body. Then he tries to flee. How the neighbors got him, I do not know. I don't know if there was a ruckus, if there was yelling. I don't know how that happened. But it reminds me of Richard Ramirez when he tried forcefully take a woman's car. And this woman, I believe, yelled out, fought him back, and all the neighbors came out and pretty much beat him down and held him there until the police got there. That's what you're supposed to do instead of whipping out your phone and recording it. Okay? They didn't have camera phones back then. Can you imagine if they did? They probably wouldn't have helped. They probably would have just recorded Richard Ramirez probably beating this woman and taking off in the car because the cops were already on to Richard Ramirez. So the neighbors were on to this guy. And he tries to flee. Cortez tried to flee, but neighbors held him down until police arrived. When the investigators checked his apartment, his meaning Cortez, they found a gruesome discovery. Human remains and 7 human craniums. Okay? Human remains could be anything. It could be a hand, it could be an arm, it could be a foot, it could even be a penis. They actually found every single part of a human body in Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment except the male's penises, because that's what he was eating. So we don't know exactly what human remains. It could have been teeth, it could have been eyes, whatever. But they found 7 craniums, 7 skulls. They found out he was a serial killer, Gaius says, the sister from Santa Ana who was telling the story. Mexico City prosecutor Ulises Lara says he has 7 homicide cases against Cortez, but several mothers of missing daughters upset that number is much higher. That's only what they found. They don't know, if he committed other murders and hid the bodies. They don't know how long he's been doing this. Keep in mind, Jeffrey Dahmer was doing this for 13 years. 13 years. He was getting away with it. I just asked the fiscal, in other words, the prosecutor, this is Angela speaking again, in Mexico City, that they put this monster in jail, and he never let, and he never let him out, and also justice for all the other victims and the other families too, Gaius said. Now, I don't have the actual GoFundMe, but there is a GoFundMe for the family. The family in Santa Ana has established a GoFundMe account called Justice for Maria Jose. Justice for Maria Jose. You guys can look that up. The goal is to help pay for the medical expenses of the surviving victim and transportation back and forth to Mexico, back to Santa Ana, to Mexico, back to Santa Ana, and for the expenses of her sister who is still living, who is suffering from 4 stab wounds, and who is also suffering from a daughter that has been deceased, who has been killed and raped by this monster. Now, once again, right here, Fox 11 calls him the devil in the flesh. The devil in the flesh. You look at this man's face, and we would never suspect a thing. Many times when we watch movies, they always get these ugly looking dudes. They're real mysterious. You know, they wear hoodies and they never show their face. They never talk to anybody. No, but this guy was a chemist. This guy spoke to people. He dealt with people. You know, he lived next door to this family. We don't know how long, you know, he knew this family. You know, we don't know how he got inside the house. Maybe they knew him for a long time, and then he finally decided to make his move, and she allowed him in, possibly to use the restroom or glass of water. I have no idea. But that's what they found. Human remains and 7 skulls. Now, what would possess a man to have that in their home? 7 skulls. Those are almost like trophies. Jeffrey Dahmer had many similar things. And it's just unfortunate that now we have a daughter that is no longer here, and we have a mother that is fighting for her life because of this monster. You know, people always tend to think that all people that are in jail are all bad. Okay, I believe there are people in jail that are falsely accused, and I believe there are people in jail that are guilty and are playing the victim. Okay, but I also believe, though, see, I don't fear people that go to jail and they come out and tell their horror stories. I don't fear that, and I say that respectfully, okay? Because there are many that go to jail and they brag about it. I'll tell you the ones that I do fear, the ones that never get caught. Those are the ones that I do fear. Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't caught. He did this for 13 years. He knew what he was doing, but it wasn't until there was gunshot sounds or yelling and screaming, and they finally decided to call the cops. I think part of the reason, and I know some people may get upset at me, but Jeffrey Dahmer looked like an altar boy. He could have told somebody he was Christian and they probably would have believed him. He could have lied and said he was the president of this company and they probably would have believed him, because we always stereotype people. We always profile certain people. And many times we like to blame it that they're always black or they're Latinos. And it's not so. This guy happens to be Mexican in Mexico City. He had a good job, but there was something very sick and evil about this individual that he doesn't see anything wrong with murdering and raping a child. You know, this guy, you know, by our laws here, anybody under 18, you're a child molester. And that's what this guy was to a 17-year-old. You know, and if he's guilty, which I believe, because I don't think you can find a good enough lawyer to get you out of having 7 craniums in your apartment, having human body parts whom we don't even know who they belong to. I do believe they had to throw the book at this guy. And I'm not even a family member. But you look at that woman in the hospital fighting for her life with 4 stab wounds in the lung and the neck and the pelvic and the leg. Birthdays are now ruined. Christmases are now ruined. Festivals are now ruined because her daughter's no longer here. And that's if she lives. See, these people, they're heartless. They're heartless. And they don't realize that not only did he hurt that girl, he hurt the mother, but he also hurt a family all the way out here. They hurt everyone. So yeah, do I hope they throw the book at him? Yeah, but not before they get this animal to talk. This guy needs to tell everything. Who else did he hurt so other families can finally have closure? Wouldn't you want closure? I would if I had a missing family member, a brother or a sister or a nephew or a niece, and they just disappeared. How can you continue to live not knowing where they're at? And this is what this animal was doing. And then she's going to work and smiling and shaking people's hands. People were shaking this murderer's hands. Meanwhile, wearing the hypocrite mask, acting like he was this nice guy, but he was really an animal collecting body parts and skulls in his home. It's important for us to warn people about people like this. See, the sad thing about living in LA I'm going to tell you what the sad part is that if you warn people about certain animals, certain idiots will start calling you a snitch. Because you're warning them about a certain person. I gave this example a while ago and I'll give it again. Hypothetical scenario. Say I live by myself, I have no kids. And a certain individual lives across the street whom I know has a record on him. In other words, he is a convicted, but he is also, if you will, been convicted of child molestation. I mean, he's a child molester. Okay? He's a registered child molester, and I know who he is. I don't fear him. I live by myself, and I don't have no children. Now, I get another neighbor that lives next door to me. They just move in. Wife, husband, 3 kids. I feel that it is my obligation to let that family know about that guy across the street. And the sad part is about living here, I've known guys that I've sat down with and I've said, you know those people that testified against Richard Ramirez? What do you call them? And he said, they're snitches. I don't curse on the show, but I really want to say F them. I'm going to warn that family of that child molester because they got children. Those children are precious. Those children are innocent. Those children are diamonds. Those are beautiful souls, and they need to be protected from monsters like that. On my Instagram, I once put up a post that said, protect the children even if they're not yours. Protect the children even if they're not yours. So yes, throw the book at this guy. Well, Tony, you're Mexican, he's Mexican. I don't give a damn. Throw the book at this monster. He hurt a family. He hurt families. Yeah, and I do get passionate. I do get passionate when I talk like this because some of these guys, I almost want to say don't deserve to live. But look what they've done. They destroyed a generation. They destroyed women, children, families because he took family members from them. You know, I don't want to keep going on and on about this, but once again, looking at my notes here, we are talking about a certain individual. His name is, so you guys can go ahead and look him up as well, Miguel Cortez. Look up Miguel Cortez, a pharmaceutical chemist. Look him up. And you guys do your own research. That way you guys can stay up to date with what's been happening. So, you know. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just fixing this. And so, yeah. Norbert, before we open up the phone lines, is there anything that you want to share or say or bring up about this? Have you heard about this yet?
No, actually, I don't even know. When did this happen?
I'll give you the date right now. Let me look at my notes once again. I want to say, here it goes. April 16th, 2024.
Holy.
Last month.
Crap, that's wow.
Just last month, but they just recently started going public with it.
Wait, was this in L.A.?
This was in Mexico City.
Oh, it was in the F.A. Oh.
Yes, and that's why I was sharing that the woman that lives here in Santa Ana, her name is Angela Calles.
Oh.
Angela Calles. And she's from Santa Ana. Her sister lives in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And her sister has a daughter, which is Angela's niece.
Wow.
She was a 17-year-old that was found raped and murdered by this animal.
By any chance, did they find any kind of like Santa Muerte kind of stuff?
You know, that they haven't released, Norbert. The only thing that they released was what I had said, that they had found human remains and 7 human craniums.
Damn.
Okay? And when the mother walks in to see her daughter deceased, she gets a stab in her leg, her neck, lung, and pelvic area.
Yeah.
So he was trying to take her out. and she is right now fighting for her life in Mexico City. And that's why I had shared the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Once again, their GoFundMe, you guys can look it up. It's a GoFundMe account called Justice for Maria Jose. And once again, the goal is to help pay for the medical expenses of the surviving victim for transportation and transportation.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. So yeah. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. I was
so
wondering.
you hadn't heard of this then?
No, actually, no. And I saw that the image had Fox News on there. I didn't really.
Yeah, they just recently went public. I believe I heard about it, Norbert, possibly a week ago.
Wow.
And little of it was trending on social media. Little of it. I mean, all you guys post your selfies. You guys post, Drake dissing Kendrick. Who cares?
I'll try not to post those anymore.
And then you got people like this, and then nobody cares. I want to see what Drake has to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is crazy.
It's big.
It is. I mean, to find somebody that is an actual serial killer, because he fits all the the checkpoints for a serial killer.
Yeah, and the thing is, Norbert, like I said earlier, we got people that go to jail and they come out and they brag about it and they go on all these podcasts and they pretty much boast about it. Yes. Not all of them.
Yes.
I don't fear those people. By the way, I don't fear no man, but I will say this. The ones that I do fear, in a sense, are the ones that never got caught.
That's true.
Jeffrey Dahmer, it took them 13 years.
I mean, there was that one guy that took out a lady and her kids. I don't know if you ever saw that video. Just came out of the car and just took out the mom, took out 2 kids, and then just left. I don't think they ever caught that guy. That's the guy that just goes in there, and who knows how many bodies that guy has.
Yeah.
To be able to just get out of your car, bang, 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 and then just leave like nothing.
A person like that, Norbert, that's not something new to him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something new to him. And for this guy to have, once again, human remains, 7 skulls, we don't even know if those human remains match those 7 skulls or if those human remains were for somebody else and these skulls were for somebody else. They're not releasing none of the details just yet. He
seems like a pretty older guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has more bodies hidden away.
Do you know how old he is?
Looking at his thing, I'm gonna say maybe somewhere mid-30s to early 40s.
He's actually 39 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, 39 years old.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he has more bodies out there somewhere.
I truly do believe that he does have more bodies out there. And once again, these are the type of guys that I truly believe, Norbert, before you take them out, you got to get everything out of them. And when I say everything out of them, you got to get them to confess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of psychos out there. I mean, they still haven't solved those murders down by the border in Mexico. You recall that one? I think they made several documentaries about it.
Yes.
About girls that just disappear.
Are you talking about the ones in the El Paso border?
I think it's the one in the El Paso border.
Yes, there's another good one. I believe it's called either The Border or Border, and it's with J-Lo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a huge J-Lo fan, but I appreciate that she actually made that movie because I saw like a little interview with her where they told her not to make it. And that movie has so much truth in it.
Yeah.
I believe that you guys should definitely tap in and watch that movie. I believe it's called Border. You can just Google Jennifer Lopez, Border, El Paso, Texas, and it should come up. It's a pretty old movie. I believe it came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it shows how women were being taken advantage, raped, kidnapped, killed constantly. Nobody was doing nothing.
Nope.
Nobody was doing nothing. And I believe, not to give away or play spoiler, but she was given an undercover job to go work in those warehouses, hoping to get some type of info on these murders. And I believe it was a great movie that got rarely any exposure. And I believe maybe out of fear, some people didn't want to talk about it.
No.
But, yeah. No, but let's go ahead and let's open up the phone lines. If anybody wants to call in and maybe they have something they want to share about this, That's cool.
You want the picture up or you want me to take it down?
You know what? For right now, let's leave it up for right now, okay? Let that sit in people's heads, people's brains. Let's expose
Now,
this guy.
Tony, let me ask you, what would you consider proper punishment for him?
And this is just me, and I would never take the law into my own hands. But this is just me in my world. This guy should get tortured, and tortured for years, and then eventually do away with them. Gas chamber, electric chair. Let the family of those victims pull the lever on that electric chair, or that's what I believe that you should get. But that's in my hypothetical perfect world, I guess. That's what I would do. Because that's what that guy deserves. Okay, let me know if I'm connected to you, Norbert. Okay.
We're connected.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you guys, once again, I went ahead and shared about this idiot here. 39 years old, pharmaceutical chemist from Mexico City. And he is considered, as of now, by Fox 11 News, the Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. I just don't like the fact that they put Mexican. Yeah, that's what he is, but we're not all like that. Okay.
Well, I mean, his last name is Cortez, after all.
Yeah. Here we go, Norbert.
All right.
Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello, caller. Yes, sir. Hello?
Hello.
I'm here. Caller. I hope we're not having the same problem, Norbert. Caller.
Next.
Okay, call back. Let's see. I hope we are not having the same problem. Here's what I'm going to do, Norbert. I'm going to disconnect myself, and we're going to try it again, okay?
All right.
Okay, so here we are.
All right, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Here we go. He called back. Caller, if you're watching, please call back. I don't know why we're having technical difficulties. Everything's been fine the last couple of weeks. So let's see. Here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Kim. I'm calling from Santa Monica.
How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You know what? I just hate to give this type of news, but you know what? It's good to expose people like this and let people know what's been going on as far as in Mexico City.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. Man, first off, I think it's a great idea for a show, what you're doing, because it's a whole other angle. You know what I mean? On things that happen like in the hood and just ghost stories and shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, no cussing, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
My bad. But what I would trip out on, bro, is what the next step is. What's his history? Who's his parents? How did he grow up? What made him the way he is right now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a good question, you know. And the thing is, after watching Jeffrey Dahmer's documentary and in the docuseries, the parents seem pretty normal. You know, so a lot of times, like people would say about Richard Ramirez, he had a bad childhood. And that's what made him, you know, what he was. People like to say the same thing about the son of Sam. You know, he grew up a loner, and then he ended up joining a satanic gang, you know, or a satanic cult.
Right.
You know, we just don't know. But also take it into consideration how many people grew up in poverty and possibly with bad parents and overcame and became successful.
Right. You know what the thing is? Okay, so like there's the hood, there's environment, you see violence, and there's linked that people who see violence react in different ways, right?
Yes.
But there's people who have a what do they call it? Let me get the right word here, Holmes. A pre-genetic disposition to this. So when they do brain scans, they find that they don't have the ability to realize their actions or associate their action. And when those people see violence or those people are exposed to things like that, those are the ones who become the serial killers and things like that. I was just watching another video on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd never heard about that. But then my thing is like, like what you just said, but how do you become a pharmaceutical chemist?
Well, that's what they've noticed, is that they're totally regular. In other words, they're totally regular in one aspect of their brain, and then they're disassociated from their actions over here. But it's like it's a mental composition. Like you can actually see it on the scans. And funny enough, the guy who was doing the actual scans, he had his family put in, like eight members of his family. They all scanned their brains, but they did it like a double-blind study. And the guy who was actually doing it came out with the brain type that is disassociated. Although he was a normal, regular guy, he was a professor, and he thought it was a joke that his clients his colleagues were playing a joke on him. But his actual brain scan came out with that type of genetic disposition towards that.
Wow.
Which is kind of a trip. So yeah, they can become doctors, they can do all this stuff, but whatever crosses that button, I mean, who knows? That could be a spiritual thing. Like, we don't know what he got exposed to. I'm not sure if I think you're not into like demons and religion and all that kind of stuff, right? Like other shows I've watched of you, but I think there's that aspect of things. You know what I mean? I've experienced some really crazy stuff, which forced me to believe, you know?
Yeah.
But who knows what he was exposed to that took him over that edge?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? But I will say this. Say he does have what you're saying, okay?
Right.
He still needs to face, what he's got coming, because you just can't go.
Oh
around.
yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, 100%.
Right. It would be like today, and I'm not picking on anyone. Honestly, I am not, and I say this respectfully. For a while, they were saying the reason why certain people come out gay because they had a gay gene, okay, in their brain. You know, what's not to hold us back from saying, Your Honor, I was drunk when I was driving, and I know I killed that family, but I believe I have that gene. I was born with it. You know,
right? No excuse.
That's all I'm saying, bro. Yes, but I hear you, and I think
what
you're saying is very interesting.
Right, definitely. No, yeah, I'm not sharing it in a defense form. It's just kind of more of an explanation of what we're talking about, or what you're talking about on the subject, that this is sometimes why these people are that way.
Yeah. And I do believe that there's some, in my opinion, and that's all it is, I do believe that there's something demonic behind it as well. So.
Yeah. Do you actually believe that yourself? Like, do you believe that there's that kind of an aspect, or?
Yes, I truly do. I truly do believe that. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay.
I believe in free will. Okay. I believe we have a choice.
Right.
And I truly do believe that whatever you give yourself to will consume you. You know, if I give myself to liquor, eventually I'm going to consume it, and I'm going to start acting under the influence of alcohol. Whatever I give myself to, even if it's something, if I join a group and all they talk about is, violence and protesting and fighting, and eventually it's going to consume me, because that's what I'm feeding myself. So we don't know what this person might have given himself over to that consumed him, that just took him over the edge.
Right.
So
I agree with you 100% though on what should be done to him. Like he needs to.
Yes.
The family needs to fuck him up. Sorry, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
you know what I'm
saying. Absolutely, man. But thank you, caller, man. I truly appreciate that.
Definitely, man. Love your shows, man. Love all the stuff you do, bro.
Thank you, bro. Peace. No, but that call was just a little bit too loud, so just look out for that, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay, the phone lines are now open. Great call. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciate it. I think somebody might have put the name of that J-Lo movie on the live chat.
I saw Border Town.
Border Town, I believe that's what it's called. Definitely check that out. It's really good, and I believe educational. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
I'm George from San Pedro.
George from San Pedro. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being a part of the show.
Good. How are you, Tony?
I'm enjoying myself.
I had a dream. I'm glad to hear that. I called to share a dream I had where I died and I was a zebra. And I go up to the pearly gates and I'm talking to St. Peter. St. Peter checks me in and says, Mr. Zebra, is there anything I can do for you? I say, well, actually, I have this question all my life. Could you tell me? Am I a white zebra with black stripes or a black zebra with white stripes? St. Peter says, well, you better ask God that. So I walk through the pearly gates. I walk to the presence of God and I hear, how can I help you, my son? And I says, well, I have a question, God. And God says, I'll tell you your answer. So I said, I've always wondered, was I white with black stripes or was I black with white stripes? God said, you are what you are. And I walked out kind of confused. And I saw Peter and said, you look confused. Did God give you your answer? And I said, I don't know if God gave me my answer or not. And he said, well, what did he say? He said, I said, God said, you are what you are. And then Peter said, well, that's perfectly clear. You're white with black stripes. I said, well, how do you know that? How do you know I'm not black with white stripes? Peter says, because if you had been black with white stripes, God would have said, you is what you is.
Okay. I mean, that wasn't even good, bro. That wasn't even good. So, anyways, but you know what? I don't even want to give him credit because he was even muffled. I couldn't even understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, caller, I didn't appreciate that because your joke was weak. But thank you from San Pedro. Anyways, let's see. Anybody else? The phone lines are now open. I got a lot of DMs telling me you guys were going to call in. So let's see. Let's go ahead and, it's funny because in the very beginning, it almost seems like some people are actually like too nervous to call. And then towards the end, the calls just keep coming in. And then that's when it's time to go. So once again, the phone lines are open and I'm giving you guys an opportunity to call in, be a part of the show tonight. Even if you guys want to ask a question about what I'm talking about, the topic, you guys can actually, I have it on the caption. You could turn off the live chat and look at the caption. Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer Miguel Cortez. That's who we're talking about. Miguel Cortez. Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer serial killer. So let's go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Chris from Hollywood.
Chris from Hollywood. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
Yeah. So, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you ever wonder if there's any like serial killers maybe in the neighborhood that we probably don't even know?
Yes. No, bro, we're too loud over there. Okay. Yes, I do wonder about that because, like I said earlier, it isn't the people that are in jail that scare me. It's the people that never got locked up, that never got caught. So we don't know if we've actually ever even met one. So
right.
Like, look at this guy.
And the reason I say too is because I have an app. It's called the Citizen app. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
What was that called again?
And
Citizen.
It's called the Citizen app.
Okay.
And basically, that app tells you like everything that's going around in the city, like everywhere. It just gives you like updates,
Okay.
And a lot of times I see that it says sex offenders, a guy with a gun trying to rob a store. So I'm just wondering, like, if there's like any killers out there that we probably don't even know. You know what I mean?
You know what? And that's a really good question, bro. But I think. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? And I'm not trying to get religious with it when I share this story, but I need you to try to understand something. Okay. And I get this story from the scriptures. And it's about Judas, the one who betrayed Jesus. He was one of the 12 disciples. And it said for 3.5 years that this guy was a thief, okay? He was doing a lot of shady things behind everyone's back, but Jesus knew what he was doing. And at the meal that we call the Last Supper, which in essence they were celebrating Passover, Okay. And he mentions at the table, and he says, one of you here will betray me. Now, he's talking to the 12.
Yeah.
And I need you to understand this. All of them is in the scriptures. It says that all of them began to question themselves. All of them. When Jesus just said, one of you will betray me, they began to say, is it I? Lord, is it I? Is it I? Meaning that Judas hid it so well, nobody had any idea that it was him other than Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know about that story.
Okay, so now Jesus, obviously, we know the story. He tells them that what you do, go, and do it quickly. And then the next scripture says, and Satan entered into Judas. It didn't say a demon or an evil spirit. It says Satan entered into Judas. Judas opened that door. So my whole thing in sharing that whole story is that for 3.5 years, Judas hid that he was a thief, that he was the betrayer so well that it made the disciples question themselves. They never suspected him. So I truly do believe that there are people out there that we would never suspect. And they're doing they're doing these crimes.
Very interesting because I'm pretty sure you've heard of Howard Stern.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever saw, there was like an episode where this killer actually called in and he was explaining he was killing these prostitutes. He was like just giving details,
Wow.
I don't know if you ever seen that.
I've never heard
Howard Stern.
I know who Howard Stern is, but I have never seen one episode of his because I just don't like the guy.
Right. So basically, like a serial killer calls in and just gives details on it. And I believe they caught him after, I believe. But if you can search it on YouTube, Howard Stern killer calls or something. I don't know.
I'll definitely look it up because that's interesting because I would like to know how long he was getting away with it.
Yeah, what's weird is that he was just explaining just like how he was getting satisfaction out of killing them and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of creepy.
I had...
But it wasn't here in LA, though. It was somewhere far, though.
Yes.
I don't remember what state, though.
I remember Gil Carrillo, the detective who helped bring Richard Ramirez to justice, also said that Richard, during trial, and even after trial was over, he would still brag about his killings. You have John Wayne Gacy, who would dress up like a clown, whom nobody ever suspected. The community loved him.
Right.
After he got caught, he just began to brag about it. So I wouldn't doubt it if these guys that call in, like the Howard Stern, what we call clout today, that's what they were searching for. That's what they were looking for.
Right, yeah. Right,
and it's sad that they have to go this far to destroy and hurt families to get that attention, to get that clout. Look, man, all you got to do is, just be honest. You know who are clout chasers. All you got to do is look at their podcasts or look at their Instagrams. And it's the truth. They're telling us who they are. So, anyways, caller, I appreciate, man. I appreciate you calling in, taking the time.
All right, thanks.
You got it. No, Brett, anytime, during these calls, if you want to chime in and say something, I'll let you know when we get a call. You could say something.
Oh, yeah. I was doing that. It turns out that call happened in 1997.
Oh, wow.
The guy's name was Clay.
Okay.
Apparently, he actually got arrested.
Yeah, so he got caught. But my question is, and I guess just, we got the information at our fingertips, is how long he was doing this for.
Yeah.
And think about this, Norbert. Most people that I believe, if they're going to do something like that, they want to be discreet. This guy called in and bragged about it.
Yeah, apparently he did it for 17 minutes, confessing to the way he was doing
Okay,
it.
we have a call here. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, yo, what up, Tony, man? This is Jesus from the Bay.
Jesus from the Bay. How are you tonight?
All right, pretty good. Shit, man. Right here, man, just kicking back, bro. Enjoying the show.
Thank you, my brother. I truly appreciate you taking the time.
Hell yeah, shit, man. Right on, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, bro, they say that I guess, bro, that the devil be in disguise, but shit, man, keeping it real with you, bro, that motherfucker look like a piece of shit.
Yes.
And yeah, shit, I just want to thank you, bro, for the show, man. Appreciate that.
All
Right
good,
on,
my
man. Have a
brother.
good one.
Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in and calling in. Appreciate that. I appreciate those type of calls. We got fans up there from the Bay Area, so much love and respect to them. We got fans in New York. We got fans pretty much, everywhere. So once again, I thank you guys for taking the time. I know people from Texas like to watch, but they're 2 hours ahead of us. They're not going to stay up till 10. I get it. I understand that. But I have to make the time for when it is convenient for my team so that they can work this and we can go live. So thank you to my team. So, but yeah, Norbert, the thing is 17 minutes he calls in,
Yeah.
and that's my thing. It's like, you called in for what? To brag?
I think at a certain point they do like to brag, like the Zodiac killer. I think he left messages, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah. And because they wanted to be seen in the newspaper.
yeah, they wanted people to be seen.
Yeah.
They want people to know what they were doing.
Yeah. That's sad. That's sad. So, okay, caller, the lines are open. If you guys want to call in right now and you can ask me a question. Once again, we are talking about the Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer Miguel Cortez. And once again, for those of you that are tapping in, look him up, Miguel Cortez, the Mexican serial killer from Mexico City. Here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, brother from Stockton.
Hey, my brother from Stockton. How are you tonight?
Man, I'm blessed. How about you? How about you, gentlemen?
I'm good. Norbert, you good? Doing
Good,
good?
I'm good. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Right on, right on. Hey, Tony, I was going to ask you, brother. Would you ever talk about the family in Las Vegas that saw the alien in the backyard?
I do believe that we just touched on it because it had just happened. But when I saw the so-called footage, it was people editing other footage with the real footage, and it wasn't the actual footage. Then when I actually saw the footage that the family had, there was nothing there. So I really didn't know what to report or to talk about other than what they said they saw. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you know what's weird, brother, is like when old boy, the teenager, he said that he saw the upside down cross.
yes.
And I was like, man, that's just purely demonic. Like, man, like they should have a true born again believer who's filled with the Holy Ghost to go in that house and dude, man, command that demon to go because man, I was like, man, there's no other solution really, man.
Well, I agree with you on that 100%. Only thing is that I'm glad that you called in and shared that, because when it comes from the host, I've been accused of trying to push religion, and I try to stay neutral on that. Yeah. But I agree with you 100% because I believe that's the only solution.
Yes, sir. Yeah. No, I hear you, brother. Yeah. Well, hey, God bless you and NORBEEZ, man, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Absolutely,
you too, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace. Yeah, Norbert, I think we're going to be getting a show in Vegas soon, and I think it'll be good to like maybe go one day before and do some type of like ghost hunting over there, whatever locations they may have. Or
I'm totally down for that. I think there's a ghost town in between here and Vegas.
Okay, here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, good evening. This is Flip from Salinas.
Hey, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good.
Do you have a question or a comment?
Oh, I just wanted to say I'm glad that Caesar from Paris hasn't called in tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The last time he called in, when you had the episode on the necrophilia, he called in and he said he was into that kind of stuff.
You know what? I don't know if he was actually serious or if he was just joking, because earlier I had a guy from San Pedro that took 2-3 minutes to deliver a joke that bombed. So I don't know if he was being serious.
Yeah, it wasn't that funny.
No, it wasn't.
But I just want to clarify with Caesar. He's actually not into necrophilia. He's actually into bestiality.
Oh,
Because shout out to your other show where you had a philosopher by the name of Frost.
oh
Said
yeah.
that the individual was nothing but a pig in a wig.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
All good, my bro. Thank you for calling in, bro. Thank you for taking the time.
All right, you two have a good night.
Yes, sir. Wow. Pig in a wig.
That's a good one.
Yes.
You know, some people like to connect aliens with demons. What do you think about that, Tony?
I think since I've been a kid, I've been hearing that, bro. I've been seeing it in magazines. My father has told me about that. My father never believed that. Some people do believe that. I don't know, Norbert, because first and foremost, I don't believe in aliens. You know, I just don't think there's proof. There's people that have argued with me, said, what are you talking about? All the proof is there. You know, before there was the internet, we had magazines and I saw them. You know what they would look like? Yeah. Somebody threw a hubcap in the midair. They took a Polaroid of it and said that was a UFO. They've never presented a body. They said the government was going to start exposing it and showing us more. We saw just dots under, you know, grainy film. Today we have 4K, 5K cameras and all that footage is always blurry. Every single time.
Well, I have a theory on that. It's just that they try to zoom in, but those things are just way too far.
But don't they have better cameras than us?
That's a good question.
So that's all I'm saying. And it's not a debate towards anyone. I'm just not convinced. Now, you talk to my brother, my younger brother, he would have you convinced that there is. He's just never had me convinced, you know. He says there's overwhelming proof, and I'll say your no proof is proof that it doesn't exist. Well, there is proof, and then we just go back and forth.
So do you believe that they possibly describe UFOs or a type of UFOs and confuse them as angels in the Bible?
No, because I do not believe that UFOs exist.
Oh, well, but there have been descriptions in the Bible of things in the sky, right?
Yes, and I'm very, very well prepared to answer all these questions. I'll give an example. When God allowed Moses to part the Red Sea, okay, and he walked through the Red Sea, and by the way, the ground was dry according to the scripture. It wasn't muddy. When he gets to the other side, they followed a fire in the sky, and that's why they named that movie that came out in the 1990s, Fire in the Sky. And they followed that fire. I don't know if it was a pillar of fire. I don't know exactly what it was. My father believed that that was a UFO that they were following.
Oh.
Honest to God truth. And during the day, they would follow a cloud. They would follow a cloud. My father would say that's another one. And then in the book of Jeremiah, it says that there was a wheel in the middle of a wheel. You see, that was a UFO. So, and then the chariot that picked up Elijah and took him up to heaven, that was a UFO. And I was like, oh, okay, Dad. I looked it up in the Hebrew language, and the fire meant fire, and the cloud meant cloud, and the chariot meant chariot. So,
you know what? I think I actually saw a cloud UFO.
okay.
Have you seen that movie about I don't know if it's about aliens, but it was from that one guy Peel. He made that other movie about that one brother that goes to that white girl's home and he has to try to escape.
No, never.
You recall that one? Kind of like a horror movie.
No, never, Norbert. Who was in it? Anybody know?
I'm not sure, but I think it might have been like Get Out or Get Away. But that one comedian guy made that movie.
I don't recall.
Okay, well, he made a movie where I guess it's based out here in California, and it's a ranch, and I guess they were having a type of like UFO moment where they would see one cloud that would just stay in place while all the other clouds would like move with the wind.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that. I saw that like maybe a month ago.
Okay.
I saw one cloud that would just be in one place while all the other clouds would just move.
Well, I'll tell you what, my nephew called me, and my nephew's not a liar. He's got a good job. He's got a good family. And he called me one day, like really scared, Norbert, like tripping during the day.
Really?
And yeah, let me come back and you can ask me, what did your nephew see in the sky?
All right.
Okay. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
Santa.
Excuse me?
I think he hanged up.
You said Santa? Okay, cool. Maybe even Santa Muerte.
Maybe.
Hold on. Let me screenshot that number. I got your number, pal. Anyways, let's go.
But so what did your nephew tell you?
Okay. So what happened was this. 213-431-1108. That's his number. He told me that he was driving and that he stopped because he was terrified. He looked up in the sky and he said he saw an airplane, you know, like an airplane that you would fly to Las Vegas, you would fly to New York, a big one.
Yeah.
Stopped or paused in midair.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. I've never seen one.
I've seen that.
But I immediately started Googling. And according to eyewitnesses, they've said that they've seen planes just standing there, commercial airlines. He said he actually got out of the car and looked at it.
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it myself, Tony. That actually did happen. I saw it while I was driving on the 60 freeway.
Yeah, and then he just told me. I was so terrified I didn't even think about getting my phone. And I said this, even if you would have took a picture of it, somebody could have just said it could have been anything. You know, we don't know. I mean, but that's what he said, that it was just stopped in midair.
It tripped me out, Tony, because like I said, I was on the freeway and I was passing the airplane. I thought, wait, that shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be passing the airplane. But sure enough, it ended up behind me while it was going the same direction.
Oh, okay.
Now,
was that a big commercial airline?
Yes.
Wow.
That tripped me out. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why is that plane not moving forward? And I am.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? The phone lines are open. Once again, whoever wants to call and ask anything about, once again, Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer. His name is, once again, Miguel Cortez, so you guys can look it up. Serial killer. They found 7 skulls in his house and body parts or human remains in his apartment. I shouldn't say house, his apartment. He lived next door to a young girl and a mother, and that's what happened.
So the movie I was talking about is called Nope. He also made the movie Us and Get Out.
Okay, I remember Get Out. So which one is the one you're talking about?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely going to have to look that up. So let's see. So once again, if you guys want to give us a call, the phone lines are open.
And while we have you on there, if you could do us a favor and smash that like button.
Smash that like button,
so
guys.
It can help us out with the algorithm. Much appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Smash that like button. And once again, make sure you guys share this. And once again, we want to give you guys an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Ask any questions, share any story, share any freaky tales. You know, anything like that, anything that's been passed down to you guys, anything that's been passed on to your family, or possibly anything that you guys experienced yourselves. So let's get that going. And if not, Norbert, me and you would just chop it up and we'll end the show.
Sounds good to me. So I asked the chat room.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Shazzy from Houston, Texas.
Shazzy, how are you tonight?
Hey, Shazzy.
Hey, how are you? So I just have a really quick question. I guess this kind of pertains to aliens. So I have an aunt who's a devout Christian.
Yes.
And I remember she was explaining to me in the Bible, I think, is it Prophet Ezekiel's visions of what angels look like and the different categories of angels? Would you say that kind of is what people think aliens are? Because what she described to me and what I looked up sounds like some pretty freaky looking angels. It's not, the pretty little images that we see, like the I think they're called seraphim, for instance. They're supposed to be angels that are full of wings, and then they have 3 different heads. Then you have other angels that are full of a whole bunch of eyeballs.
You know what, Shazzy?
Perhaps what we think.
Yes. Great question.
I'm sorry.
No, great question. And I'm glad you asked that question, because one thing that we have to get out of our mind is what media has given us, or because a lot of times in these like Hallmark cards that we give to people for their birthday or when somebody passes or whatever, they have blonde hair, blue eye, white angels with wings and harps. I think we have to get that out of our mind, because growing up, that's what I thought angels looked like. Okay. But it is not so. Every time, according to the scriptures, according to the Bible, every time somebody, a person that was a man of God, got an encounter or a visit by an angel, it said that they would fall down as if they were dead, because they were terrified because of what they looked like. And every time the angel would touch them and tell them, fear not. And they knew that it was something good. But now there is different categories or different ranks of angels. Satan was given the name cherub or cherubim. There are different angels called cherubs. But he was the only one, Shazzy, that was called the anointed cherub in the entire Bible. So he was above all. And then there's seraphims. And then there's archangels. And then there's just regular angels, which are just messengers. So there's different ranks of angels and different types of angels of how they looked. So by their description, they didn't look human. Now, one last thing. There's only one instance in the book of Genesis where 3 men go visit Abraham. 3 men. And they're on their way to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Many people have translated that one of those men was what people would call a Christophany. A Christophany was a pre-incarnate Christ that came to visit Abraham, and the other 2 were angels, but they looked human. They sat with Abraham. Abraham's wife, Sarah, or her name was Sarai or Sarai, made them something to eat, so they were able to eat. They ate like humans. Those 2 angels went forward, and they spoke to Lot. They looked human because everyone in Sodom and Gomorrah wanted to rape them. They thought they were humans. So that is the only instance that I recall where some angels actually looked human. All the other ones looked like what you said, with the wings and the 7 heads and the eyes. So now, if they appeared, is it possible that some people may think that those are aliens? Possibly. I would say yes. Are you still there, Shazzy?
Okay. Yes,
I thought I lost you. I thought I lost you.
Oh, no. It's just that after my aunt was explaining to me what they really look like, I was like, okay, I think I see why they always said fear not, because I would be very afraid myself.
Yes, and so were the prophets. They were very, very afraid, because it's something we don't see. We don't see things like that. And when they finally appear to us, who wouldn't fall? So, yeah. But Shazzy, that's a great question.
Definitely.
Norbert, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I just want to go on record as the way I see it. Angels throughout history always being the biggest deceivers for humans.
Okay, is that a personal statement, or are you adding to the question that she asked?
I want to say that's just a fact, because they have different appearances from what I get.
Okay, but are you answering her question? That's all I'm asking.
Well, by that I mean, the way we see these aliens, they're just giving themselves a new appearance.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry I even asked him to chime in, Jess.
I think I see what he's saying, because when I compared the image that the Bible explains according to Ezekiel, if you talk to a person who's a Hindu, their Hindu gods, you can find Hindu gods that also have many heads and many wings and all of this other very scary looking stuff. So maybe it could just be that early mankind saw things that they just couldn't explain and gave it a title of a god or an angel. Is that what you're trying to say, Norbert, or no?
Yeah, actually, in a sense, yeah. Because of their ability to deceive us with their appearances, because I do believe they are shapeshifters also.
I mean, that's good if you're going to run the fade with an angel, but right now we're Freaky Tales. So let's get back to the program. Thank you, Shazzy.
Thank you, Jazzy.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, I try to keep it neutral. No, we have to keep it neutral. We're not trying to, preach our convictions. So
I asked the live chat if they still believe that the serial killer in Mexico is still a Mexican. 45% said that he is. 55% said that he is not.
They want him out.
They want him out.
Here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
This is Fred from Soledad, brother.
Are you calling from the prison?
No, I'm not. I'm not a serial killer, no CD4 either, bro.
Okay, cool.
So, no, I'm calling from the city of Soledad, bro. Probably Monterey County.
Go ahead, my bro.
I was calling, bro, because you're talking about serial killers and stuff like that, man. And one thing I was gonna tell you or ask, say, is that about the Zodiac killer, bro, back in the day. Yes. You know what I mean? That was out in the Bay Area or whatnot. I don't know if you guys were aware that the code he wrote in, nobody could figure it out, and there was somebody from Salinas actually that figured it out. I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
No, I didn't. I saw the movie, and please help me out, Fred, that they supposedly never caught him, and I think that when they finally figured out, they believed that he was already dead.
Yeah, that's the story. That's where I was going to go to next.
Okay, please.
You know what I mean? That I don't actually know the actual story. I just know that the same thing, and that's kind of like, I would kind of put the Zodiac killer along with Jack the Ripper, bro, that they never really confirmed who it really was.
And that's the scary part, bro. That's the scary part.
Exactly.
Because you could be sitting next to this guy reading the newspaper, and he's the guy who did it.
Yeah.
We don't even have a description. So,
yeah, no, there's nothing. There's nothing to it. Yeah, man, I just thought I'd throw it out there since you wanted the serial killer stuff. This guy right here, it's the first I heard of it tonight, so thank you for that. But as far as all the other ones, like Richard Ramirez and all those other guys, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's one thing, but like you said earlier, bro, that's the scary part, not knowing, or the ones that didn't get caught,
Yeah, I mean, look.
That's the scary part.
I believe, Fred, we're about the same age, or you're about a year older than me. I'm sorry. But
yeah, no, we're the same age right now, actually.
Yes. Remember when Richard Ramirez roamed the streets? Everybody was terrified. We didn't have a description. We didn't know what he was going to strike next. He didn't have a certain pattern.
Oh, dude, I was scared over here, bro. I remember I was even scared over here. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't know where he was at. You know what I mean? It was between San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mother, God rest her soul, like, hey, I was kind of freaking out, bro. It was a scary time. That's Richard Ramirez also is kind of like the California version of the Son of Sam in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had us terrified out here, bro.
Absolutely.
And throughout the whole state, not just in one city, it feels kind of wild, man.
Yes.
That's when you really think about it,
I don't push a lot of podcasts, bro, but I want to push this interview. Michael Francis just recently interviewed the Son of Sam.
I saw that one. I did see it. Really? I did see it. Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I need...
What's your thoughts on that, man?
I'm shocked right now. Really?
Well, I'll tell you what, Norbert, when we take our last call, which this probably be it, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Before we hang up, bro, what's your guys' thoughts on that, bro?
Well, look, if you live in L.A., you better not do it, especially if you're Mexican, because you'll be crucified.
Yeah.
But if Joe Rogan did it, everybody would watch, even those people that told us not to do it. So there has to be a fine line, bro, because my thing is this, when you got Connie Chung and you got, Geraldo Rivera and all these other guys interviewing Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and all these guys, nobody says nothing. But the moment we do it, how could you sit across from that animal? You support that guy. Yeah. And it's funny, Geraldo never supported Charles Manson. You know, these guys never supported, you know, Jim Jones, but they were journalists.
Yeah.
You know, and look, many times, let's be honest, unless somebody sits down and talks to those guys, we could never educate not only ourselves, but the next generation on what to look for. What are the red flags?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, exactly. You know what, bro? Here's the thing, though, Tony. Here's my thoughts on that exactly, bro.
Yeah.
I think that see, the difference between now and then, back then, these journalists, celebrity journalists, if you will,
yes,
you know, celebrities were sort of untouchable, bro. Now, I wouldn't say that, you know what I mean.
Yes.
With, you know, there's a fine line within that. I think that now, bro, with the internet,
right.
people are able to contact each other, bro, and they're able to reach out to anybody on the net, and they're able to say whatever they want and then call it and start the stuff. I think that's the difference. At the end of the day, I mean, I think you guys are on a good winning streak in a sense, because you know what? At the end of the day, it's like this, bro. It's like I'm not gonna plug my stuff, but I'll put it to you this way. Bro. With myself, I don't bend over and do anything for anybody, bro. my whole deal, bro, is it's a business, and that's where it ends. It's my business. It's what I do, and I don't care what anybody else says. You know what I mean? That's what you guys gotta do, bro. Just keep pushing how you're doing it. Because you guys are on a good one, bro. You guys got some good stuff, bro.
Thank
you. You know what I mean? And I'm being honest about that.
Thank you, Fred.
Appreciate
so,
you.
yeah, just you know, keep moving forward, bro. At the end of the day, you know what? It goes back to the same thing, bro. If you listen to what people got to say, you'll never make anybody happy, bro. You got to make yourself happy first, bro.
Yeah.
There's Freaky Tales, Rodin Radio, Run the Fade, all that, etc., bro.
Appreciate you.
When you're on Rodin Radio, that's your world, bro. This one's your world. You do what you want and what you have to do. The rest of it, okay, no important, bro. Don't worry about the rest.
Absolutely.
I mean, keep moving forward, bro.
All right, brother. You stay blessed.
Appreciate you.
With that, man, I'll leave you guys.
All right, peace.
Hey, all right.
Okay. No, bro, let me just go ahead and end it there, because I do believe we can have a good conversation about that. Okay. And I'll tell you why I want to watch that interview.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go right here. Apologies. Okay. Bam. Now I can take these off. Okay. A lot of people may not know, and the reason why I say maybe you guys should definitely check that out is Son of Sam, the guy from Yonkers, New York, that in the 70s pretty much shut down New York. And we usually get a caller. He's actually Mexican that calls from Yonkers, New York, and shares, you know, Freaky Tales, and he chimes in many times about our Freaky Tales episodes. Bless you.
Thank you.
And so they finally caught Son of Sam. I know they said, they reported that when he got caught, that he was thankful that they caught him, because he wouldn't have stopped. This is the guy that was saying he was receiving messages from a dog, D-O-G, to go kill people, shoot them at random. They could be in the car making out, shoot them. They could be in the car having sex, shoot them. That's what he did. Now, he did admit to belonging to a satanic group. Was the satanic group the ones who told him to do it? I have no idea. But I would like to learn a little bit more from him, and I'm going to tell you why, Norbert.
Yeah.
Michael Francis, I don't know if you know, he is a ex-gangster from New York, mob.
Yeah, his dad was also, right?
Yes, his dad. So it runs in his family. Now, what a lot of people may know or may not know, that he is now claiming to be a born-again Christian. Okay?
Yes.
Now, what a lot of people may know or may not know about Son of Sam is that he's been a Christian for years.
Wow.
So I looked at this from the outside looking in as two Christians talking to each other. One has a horrible past. The other one also has a horrible past.
Wow.
My question to you, Norbert, is this. And even though the world may not be so forgiving, but I do want to ask you this question. Can people change?
From what I've seen about other killers, it doesn't seem like it, Tony. It seems like they eventually go back into it. From what I've seen, I think there was one guy that he didn't kill anybody for like 20 years, and then he ended up just doing it again.
Like a relapse.
Yeah, relapse.
Okay, and that's fair enough. You know what? There was one part on not this interview, because I haven't seen it yet, but I had seen an older interview where I think his last name is Berkowitz. I forgot his first name. Or Sam Berkowitz, I believe.
David Berkowitz.
David Berkowitz. But I think the reason why they called him the Son of Sam, because his dog was named Sam.
Really?
Yeah, and supposedly he was getting messages from his dog. And then later on, he admitted, honestly, Norbert, that he lied about that dog.
Well, they made a movie of it, right?
Yeah, Spike Lee made a good movie about it.
Well,
you guys check it out. I think it's called Son of Sam or Summer of Sam.
Summer of Sam, yes.
By Spike Lee is actually a really good movie. I recommend that movie. And so later on, he comes out and says that that he never received anything from any dog. But
yeah, I don't think I honestly don't think people that have done that sort of stuff intentionally change.
And you know what, Norbert? His defense team could have been using that he received these messages from a dog to state possibly that he was insane.
Yeah, I mean that would be the way to go about it in this situation.
Yeah. Now, as far as angels, I didn't want to cut you off because I didn't want to do it over the phone. Yes. But please elaborate when you were saying they're the biggest deceivers. Okay, well, let me ask you this: do you believe that angels do exist?
Yes, I do believe they do exist, and I do believe that they are currently locked away in another, I guess you would say another dimension.
Either chamber, dimension.
You could call it a Tartarus. Some people would probably call it that.
Okay.
Tartarus pit, I guess. Okay. Well, they're locked up.
Okay. Now, do you believe in aliens?
No, I don't really believe in aliens.
Okay. So, is it possible that what people have seen throughout human history that maybe they might have, well, you believe they're locked up, because I was going to say maybe they might have seen angels and that's what they're depicting as possibly aliens?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I think, I do believe that some of them have escaped within the last, I don't know, maybe 400 years.
Okay. See, and these are the things that I like to talk about because they're freaky tales.
Yeah.
And everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their facts. Everybody has their truth. And there's nothing wrong with coming together and calling in or when I have a guest and they share their experiences. I think that's what makes this show unique, and what makes it different is you guys calling in and sharing your guys' stories. You guys calling in and asking questions.
Definitely.
So, but other than that, as far as Norbert, let me ask you this. Do you believe, like Ted Bundy?
Yes.
Okay. He was executed already.
Yes.
Many years ago. He requested to speak to a Christian minister named Dr. James Dobson.
Yes.
And do you think that those people deserve an interview, like their final farewell interview?
No, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the point? The family definitely doesn't want to listen to them. And I think at that point, when they've caused so much suffering, there really isn't much more left for them to say or explain.
Oh, and that's a good point, too. That's a good point. The reason why I think, I guess, and I look at it more from an educational perspective, is to look at, if you will, body language.
Yeah.
Do they talk to the person eye to eye? Are they looking everywhere? You can somewhat tell at times if they're lying. And I believe the reason why that's educational, because we can pick up on red flags. And when you speak or talk to someone and they're mimicking that, now we have some type of idea of what these other individuals acted, and we could pick up on some of those red flags. At least for me, it's educational when I see those type of interviews.
Yeah.
For an example, I think if he told the truth, Ted Bundy said this, that when he first started, he started with soft porn, VHS, eventually led to magazines, and then he said whatever he put his eyes to, then he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, and then before you know it, he said, it just grew. The appetite for that just grew and grew and grew, and it became his lifestyle.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a warning sign for people that are addicted to possibly what he was addicted to.
That's a good telltale to see a possibility that they can be. But for me, I truly do believe, because of technology now, we can trace the gene that causes them to be like that. I definitely believe that
It is a gene?
It is a gene thing because you got to recall the history of America where there were serial killers everywhere. That's how they pretty much conquered this land, because a lot of them were not I guess a lot of them were capable of just committing mass genocide in these lands. They deleted so many people without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
They raped so many women without even thinking about it. That this whole country was founded probably with half of them being serial killers.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You know, a lot of people would agree, a lot of people would disagree with you, but
I mean,
it's okay for us to have our own platform to talk about it.
And I do believe that their descendants still share those genes, as we can see throughout history, as we can see through our news media, all these children or teenagers that go out and do all these mass, deletions all over the country. I mean, the families say, I never thought that they would be capable of doing it, but it might be something that just lays dormant until it just awakens in them, and then they just have a bloodlust to just delete everyone.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've seen throughout history.
Yeah. Norbert, in closing, once again, for those of you guys that are just tapping in, we were talking about something that happened last month. Mexican Jeffrey Dahmer is what they're calling him, but his real name is Miguel Cortez. He's a serial killer. The police arrested him. He was caught in the act of murdering a 17-year-old, raping her, trying to kill the mother. When he fled, the neighbors tied him down. They held him till the authorities came. They went into his apartment. He had 7 craniums and human remains in his apartment. And this is still the beginning stages of the investigation, and this is all what they have released. I'm sure there's going to be more release. And the sad part is, Norbert, I guarantee you there's somebody probably already writing a script.
Oh, I'm sure of it, Tony. I mean, something like this happens once every decade.
And you know the crazy part? We live in the entertainment capital of the world, which is Hollywood.
Yes. Okay?
And it's almost hard. It's a hard pill for me to swallow when you say, you know what, this is entertainment. This is going to be entertainment for people.
I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, you look at all those Civil War movies. I mean, and they're just like deleting each other everywhere without really considering that what they're doing. It's like when you see the whole American Revolution, like there is they don't think for 1 second, oh, I'm killing my fellow brother out here. Yeah. Not even for a second. It's just bloodlust at that point.
Well, Norbert, we come to the end. Any last closing thoughts before I give my shout outs?
I just want to read out this super chat.
Okay.
Shout out to Enrique Ledesma, drop $4.99. There's an animated cartoon in real life about a satanic deleting dog.
Wow.
And I said deleting because,
yes. Thank you, Enrique Ledesma. And once again, I'm asking you, please hit the like button. It throws us out into the algorithm. If you guys are on the super chat, don't know where the like button's at, or on the live chat, just hit the X and get out of the live chat, and it's to your left. Hit that like button for us. It'll be beneficial to us. Thank you very much. Other than that, I just want to thank once again Norbert for coming through and helping me putting this out there for you guys. I want to thank my son, B. Scallis. I want to thank the Hip Hop Jedi. Also want to thank Marvelous Inc. and Alex Cervantes that wasn't able to make it tonight. And also want to thank our moderator, Magic Girl, for pushing the Instagram Freaky Tales podcast, where you can get your latest updates on what's coming out and what we've already came out with. So other than that, I want to thank everybody who gave Enrique Ledesma. And I also want to give a thank you to everybody who called in. I want to give even the guy who said the joke and the guy who hung up. I thank you. You guys are watching, so thank you. Everybody who decided not to be on the live chat, everybody who liked, comments, subscribed. So once again, we're going to try to be back next Friday, but I am going to stick to doing it twice a month. If I can be back more, I would, but it's just my schedule is now allowing me. If not, I will go on twice a week. But I do have other commitments, other podcasts, and other things I have to do. So once again, thank you. Expect the unexpected. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I can't wait for Halloween. So we're out of here, Norbert. Thank you.
All right, and we're out for now. Okay. Cool. Let's go in right now. Let them talk for a little bit.